Okay, this is from theguardian.com. It's an older article, but I feel it's important. Counselor faces inquiry over tweet calling Church of Scientology stupid. And this is 20th July 2010. Okay, listen to this. I wonder if this is a Scientology article. I don't know. Watchdog says Cardiff counselor John Dixon's Twitter message likely to have breached code of conduct for local authority members. Aren't they allowed to call something stupid? People are not allowed to call something stupid. A counselor is facing a disciplinary hearing after calling the Church of Scientology stupid on Twitter. It emerged today. I'm going to have to check and see if this paper, whatever it is legit. A counselor is facing... Okay, I already did that. The Welsh Public Standards Watchdog. That gives me the creeps there, Watchdog. Investigated Cardiff counselor John Dixon's short message and decided it was likely to have breached the code of conduct for local authority members. So they've told this to us twice. You know, usually when Scientologists are writing it, they repeat themselves over and over and over. Nobody does any kind of check. News of the Ombudsman's decision prompted a flood of messages of support on Twitter for Dixon, the Council's executive member for Health, Social Care, and Well-Being. Tweets included an offer to find a lawyer to fight his case pro bono, and many others defending his right to free speech. Facts. So that tells me maybe it's not Scientology writing this. The case centers on a message posted by the Liberal Democrat counselor during a visit to London. Scientology's mad. It said, I don't know the Scientologists had a church on Tottenham Court Road. Just hurried past in case the stupid rubs off. Yeah, he has a right to free speech. The message was posted on an account called CLLR John Dixon. So that's counselor. He has since set up a second account, John Dixon, for his more personal musings, in which he describes himself as a microbiologist and web developer into science, rugby, and web geekery. By 3 p.m. today, did you guys wonder why they bring up the time? Dixon's number of followers on Twitter had trebled. One supporter said, instead of a disciplinary hearing, they should canvass all the electorate to see if they agree with you. I think they just might. That's a good one. Another wrote, we are all behind you, mate. If any disciplinary action goes ahead, it will be because the stupid rubbed off on someone. It's funny. So we all know it's not Scientology writing this then. Dixon's later tweeted, just seeing all the retweets about my ombudsman judgment. Wow. Thanks. A spokeswoman for the Public Services Ombudsman for Wales confirmed there had been an investigation into Dixon. Imagine just tweeting that Scientology is stupid and you get investigated. Dang, they're really crumbling, aren't they? The investigation had found there was likely to have been a breach of the code of conduct local authority members must follow. Cha-ching, ching, 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 cha-ching, ching, bring, ching, bring, cha-ching, ching, ching, bring, bring, bring. You guys know what that is. That's my cash register noise. The Ombudsman has referred to the case to Cardiff Council Standards and Ethics Committee, which will consider it in the autumn. It will have to decide if there has been a breach, and if it finds there has been, consider any sanctions. A spokesman for the Church of Scientology said, and why would we even ask, right? Why would anybody have to ask a spokesman for their opinion? We don't care. Nobody out here cares about your opinions. We don't care. Opinions are not rules. The complaint was made by an individual Scientologist who was personally offended by the comments. Typical answer they would give. They always use that individual Scientologist. So they don't want to be sued. They don't want Scientology to be sued. Or the RTC or any of those organizations. The spokesman suggested people go to their website, of course, to find out about the church and its founder, L. Ron Hubbard. Where's Anonymous at, you guys? Anonymous, where you at? Anonymous. Where you at, Anonymous? I think there needs to be a second movement, don't you guys? Dixon argued that the remarks were made in a personal capacity, facts, rather than as a counselor. Honestly, he should have been able to say it even as a counselor, in my opinion. In my humble, amazing opinion. And said his Twitter name was Counselor John Dixon, only because John Dixon had been taken. He told The Guardian he was in London in June last year to buy a wedding ring for his wife-to-be, which he also tweeted about. Other postings made at the time included remarks about visiting a relative in Richmond and going to a musical. Dixon said he thought the remark about the Church of Scientology was whimsical and had thought nothing more about it until he began to suspect that members of the church were following him on Twitter. Psycho. He posted another message, just realized that Scientologists are following me. Quick, everyone, pretend you're out. But he said that in December, the Ombudsman received a complaint about the remarks. Counselors are obliged to carry out their duties with due regard to the principle that there should be equal opportunity to all, regardless of their religion. They always use this, don't they? They can hurt children under the guise of religion. They can physically abuse children under the guise of religion. They can harm women under the guise of religion. It's always the same with them every time. I mean, it's always like they pull the same little tricks out of their little suitcase and use the same thing over and over. It's an individual Scientologist. It's a hatred crime. It's, freedom of religion. Freedom to our children, you guys. That's my opinion, and it's free to have one. Check the record, like my dad used to say. Dixon said that even if he had been speaking in an official capacity, which he maintains he was not, he was surprised at the complaint going so far. That's what you call information control. Behavior control. Thought control. Emotional control. Well, maybe not emotional. As a liberal Democrat, I'm used to having things said about me. You take it on the chin, he said. He said he did not have very strong opinions on Scientologists before the saga. Yeah, I bet he does now. Having done some research on them, I have a harder line now, he added. Facts. It reminds me what Tori always says, that Scientology is their worst enemy. It's facts. So I'll leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.